There's a banner that hangs on a wall in my house that states, "There is strength in virtue, and virtue in strength." It hangs on the south wall and is positioned perfectly so that it's the last thing I see as I leave for the day. Later in the evening, as I get home and I'm ready for a good night's sleep, it serves as a subtle reminder of the higher purpose I hold myself to. This higher purpose is more like a higher standard. It is a higher standard of how I want to live my life and the expectations that come with taking this approach. And this standard requires training. And all training requires sacrifice. This is the way of Odin. Recently, I had a conversation with a man who wanted to know how often I trained. I told him 4 to 5 days per week, and that each session was typically 3 to 4 hours long. He replied that he could never commit that kind of time. I told him that I didn't expect him to be able to do that. I've been training for over 25 years. I've built the capacity to train this way, and I sacrifice much to allow me to train in this manner. He said he was too busy to even dedicate an hour to training. He wasn't able to give me any examples of what actually consumed his free time, but he just felt that he couldn't sacrifice any time at all. And he justified being comfortable with himself just the way he is. This is so common in today's third generation postmodernist mentality. It seems that the snowflakes and social justice warriors of the present time are winning in their pursuit of idolizing the victim instead of the victor. People are becoming more comfortable in accepting less of themselves and never get close to their potential. This is not the way of Odin. All training requires sacrifice. And if you train on purpose, then you are training because you believe yourself to be good enough to get better. You realize that you are not yet fully actualized. The version of yourself in your mind's eye hasn't been achieved yet. One needs to sacrifice much to gain much. And you are willing to endure this sacrifice for years. You do this because you know that the freedom and wisdom you seek is gained through the struggle. You reject comfort and live with less to gain greater purpose. This is the way of Odin. Odin was the highest and oldest of all the gods. He sacrificed himself to gain more knowledge and power. He hung himself from the world tree, Yggdrasil, in pain and agony for 9 days. He pierced his side with his own spear, increasing his torment. He didn't eat or drink, and he was on the verge of death, bleeding and alone. And it was at this moment that the runes were revealed to him. He could now read them and understand them, which allowed him to understand the ways of magic and power. The world became his to control. But this power wasn't enough. Odin knew he could still learn more. He knew that he needed to sacrifice more so that he could become better. Next, he sought out the well of wisdom, which is found deep in the ground and feeds the roots of Yggdrasil. But this well is guarded by a great giant named Mimir. And this giant drank from the well every day, becoming the wisest of all giants and guardian of memory. Odin disguised himself as a wanderer, as he often did, and traveled through the land of giants, risking his life to seek out Mimir's well. And when he found it, he asked the giant to allow him to take one drink from the well. One drink would increase his wisdom. Mimir agreed to let Odin drink from the well, but it would come with a price. The giant wanted one of Odin's eyes as payment. Odin took out his knife and plucked out one of his eyes and placed it in the well. He then filled the mighty horn called Gjallarhorn with the water and drank it down. Wisdom instantly flooded through him. He was able to see farther and more clearly with one eye than he ever did with two. I like the idea of sacrificing yourself to yourself. I believe in embracing the struggle and adversity of life to gain more for yourself. I can achieve this through my weight training. I sacrifice much so I can train more. Each training session is a battle through adversity and struggle. The bar is constantly being set higher. In order to guide me and enable me to become better, I've surrounded myself with some of the best in the world in powerlifting. World champions, men of experience, men who expect more from me as I do them. Together, we hold each other to the higher standards that we set for our lives. These higher standards require a price, the greatest price of all, our time. These great men and I have embraced the ways of Odin. Because of that, together, we can see farther and more clearly than others.